Hello, this is Tomlin from TomlinHarmonicaLessons.com, and today I am going to talk about the single most important harmonica lesson you will ever learn. Okay, so this is the thing that I tell students all the time. This is the most important thing. This is the secret sauce that is going to make you an excellent harmonica player. Are you ready? Okay, the most important thing on harmonica is remembering to relax. Okay, lesson over. Only kidding. So relaxation is so paramount. Almost everything on the harmonica that people struggle with can be fixed by learning to get rid of any unnecessary tension. And the unnecessary tension doesn't end with what's going on inside your mouth. It's your entire body. This is really important. So let's start with the most obvious, which is the throat and the jaw and the tongue and all the bits that are kind of directly involved with the harmonica. So really think about opening up your throat as if you were yawning. So do a big fake yawn, do a and then feel how kind of open the back of your throat is when you do that. And the difference between having your throat open like that and what a lot of people do, which is kind of holding it tense, is the difference between this and this. Okay, so hopefully you can hear that the first sound is a lot more pleasant, and that's because I've got my throat open and I'm nice and relaxed. But you also want to think about things like your shoulders being relaxed, making sure that they are hanging down from your collarbone and just nice and loose. You want to make sure that your neck is relaxed and you're not kind of poking forward or holding yourself back or anything like that. You also want to make sure that your wrists are nice and relaxed. And the reason that you want to keep everything relaxed is that you get feedback from your body to other parts of your body. So if you're clenching your toes, then that will lead to you having tension in your breathing, which will translate to a weak sounding note or a fluttery sounding note or something undesirable. Okay? So first issue that can be fixed by relaxing is this quality of notes. The more relaxed you are, the richer and warmer they will sound. Harmonica isn't supposed to be physically demanding. You're not supposed to have to grab and pull really hard to get things out of it. That's really important to remember. Harmonica players sometimes look like they're being very passionate and inflamed and they're really grabbing everything, but that doesn't mean that they're playing very hard. It doesn't mean that they're using tension. You need to maintain that relaxation. Super important. Okay, next thing that relaxation will help with is your bending control. So a lot of people come to me and say, Tomlin, my 3-draw whole step bend sounds horrible. How can I make it better? And the relaxation is the most important thing for this. So your 3-draw whole step bend, it's not a bend that requires a huge amount of power. A lot of people struggle to get it so much that they end up pulling really hard and doing that kind of thing, or going too deep and kind of just pulling back as hard as they can. But if you can just let everything settle and play nice and gently. And the way that you can kind of discover that minimum amount of effort to play the 3-draw whole step bend or any other bend is to hit it in any way that you can. So hit that bend. And in fact, I'll play a little bit harder. And continue to hit it, hit it with less and less effort. So do it. Until you find the minimum amount of effort that you need for it. And that's how you get the nice warm sounding bend. Rather than that kind of thing. We don't want the wasp in the jar, we want a nice rich sounding bend. So the next thing that can be really, really helped by remembering to get rid of any tension and relaxing is your timing. So this is one that I see all the time. I see people kind of getting sort of nervous and tight, and they rush the beat. So if the tempo is this, 2, 3, 4, really think about sitting back into it. One thing to bear in mind, it's always better to be a little bit behind the beat rather than ahead of the beat. So just relax into it. And you might be thinking, oh, well, that's a slow tempo. It's easy to be relaxed there. But you've also got to maintain that relaxation as the tempos increase. It's easier to practice relaxing to a slower tempo. But as it becomes second nature, when you increase the tempos, you also need to maintain that nice loose. Okay, so timing, another important thing that will be solved and fixed by relaxing and getting rid of all that unnecessary tension. The next one that I see all the time is warbling, okay? So a lot of people are not sure, for starters, whether they should be warbling with their heads or with their hands, and they kind of do something a little bit between the two, and there's lots of stress and worry about how to do it properly. So it doesn't matter whether you use your hands or your heads, multiple heads. Hopefully you've only got one head, but you never know. So hopefully you are just using one or the other, but not both together. That's the important thing. So if you relax and get a kind of nice shake going with your head, that sounds great. Or if you get a nice shake going with your wrists, that's also fine. What I see a lot of people doing is holding their arms like this, and so when they warble, they're kind of moving like this, and they're not getting any control, and it's not sounding very smooth, and it's not sounding musical. So you really want to relax, get a nice wobble like that, okay? Another thing that people really struggle with getting to kind of high quality is the hand wah, right? So hand wah is all about getting a really good seal around the harmonica, and then getting a nice strong wah sound when you open that seal. So kind of. Okay, and if you are in any way tense when you do that, then it makes gaps appear between your fingers. And you don't get much of a wah sound at all. So really letting those fingers relax and hold the position really kind of loosely, sort of minimum amount of effort necessary to hit it, will give you a nice strong cup. Okay, and then I guess the final thing I want to talk about, but it's definitely not the last one, but a really important one, is silly mistakes, right? So a lot of people make silly mistakes when they're playing, and they say, oh, I've never made that mistake when I'm practicing at home. And to me, that seems to be a sign that at home, they're more relaxed than they are when they're playing in front of me or when they're playing in front of an audience. and trying to cultivate that sense of being relaxed in performance mode is really, really useful. This is quite a difficult one to fake, but you want to try and make your practice scenario as close to what your performance scenario will be like as possible. So for example, when I'm practicing, I practice in front of a mirror, so I've got an audience. I practice standing up in front of a mic stand, so it's like it'll be when I'm on stage. And all of these things mean that when I'm actually in that scenario of playing in front of people on stage with a real mic and all that kind of thing, it just feels natural, it feels normal. So I'm relaxed and I don't make those silly mistakes. Another way to make sure that you maintain that degree of relaxation when you jump up on stage for the first time, you don't have to start straight away. That's the biggest mistake that people make. When they get up on stage, they just think, shit, I need to start playing. And you don't. You can just take a moment, take a few deep breaths, fan yourself, just relax, and then start playing. You never ever see athletes, musicians, high performers of any variety just run out and go, bah! It just doesn't happen. There is preamble, there is preparation. What you might find is that that preparation happens off stage before they go up on stage, but it doesn't always. You quite often see the concert pianist sitting down, looking around at the audience, looking at the piano, kind of stretching their hands out, making sure they're all ready, and then they'll nod to the conductor and say, look, I'm good to go now. But nobody was upset that it took a little bit of time for them to get started. So try and remember that to help you relax when you get up on stage so that you don't make silly mistakes. Okay? Right. Thank you so much for bearing with me to the end. I sometimes feel that if I had a t-shirt made that said, remember to relax, that could kind of be half of my harmonica lessons with students. I just point at my t-shirt. So it is really, really important. It's not the sexiest thing to practice when you're practicing your instrument, but it is by far the most important. So thank you so much for spending all this time with me. I really appreciate that. If you've enjoyed the video, please give me a thumbs up by hitting the like button, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel because I put out a new harmonica video every Wednesday at 5 p.m. UK time. All right, I'll see you next week. Happy harping.